the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah, just like when you're over here and you look, do you see it any differently from looking at it? Looking at the situation over there and how crazy Mexico is from America, like how ignorant Americans are to how bad it really is.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been up here for 4 years now as a resident, right? And I came up here at the weirdest time probably in U.S. history, as far as, when I was going through my immigration process. Trump, got elected, so it was pretty interesting, being pulled to both sides of the political spectrum, and seeing how people would talk about Mexico in ways that were like irrealistic or, just weird things that you would hear. It's like, that's not how it is. That's not how it happens.
What's a big misconception?
That it's a Mexico problem only, and that the influence and the cartels aren't out here in the U.S. too. They're everywhere. It's not the border. The border thing is like, that's the border, but they're on both sides. There's definitely cartel here in the U.S. So most Americans thinking of it as a foreign problem. Mm-hmm. It's foreign if you live far from the border, maybe, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. That's one thing that I always see, and also that it's a problem that Mexico should fix itself. That's a lot. I also hear that. No, they should fix their own shit.
Yeah,
but their own, the problems down there, stem from firearms and money coming from up here, and a big drug market, and the money going into some corrupt hands down there at times, and basically them burning the manual every 6 years and just starting anew on their fight. And the cartels.
Does anybody else say this other than you? Like, does anybody say that politically over there?
There's a few people. I was actually in charge of the governor of Baja's security detail for 2 years, almost 3 years. I was put there because he was a very good friend of Felipe Calderon. He was his compadre, and he was very high level, and there was a lot of threats in his life. And again, he was heading up the tip of the spear for the counter cartel operations in the whole of Mexico. And he implemented a plan in TJ that was then replicated throughout the country. And he would be very vocal in his, counter cartel rhetoric and how we could do better and how we should all work together. He developed these groups called boom groups. Basically, army, municipal police, state police, all of them working together in these operations groups and just going out there. And it's the jurisdiction of everybody here to do whatever we need to do. And he was pretty, instrumental. His name was Osuna Millan. And he's out of politics now, and he had a lot of threats on his life, and it was pretty interesting working with him. He's one of those people think that all politicians are corrupt down there. It's not true. There's some good ones. He was one, definitely. I worked directly with him, and I could tell you that he was one of those good ones. And Lieutenant Colonel Lizola, who's now running for mayor of Tijuana, he's one of those vocal guys. There's a reason why they've tried to kill him 9 times. He's saying something. He represents something, right? There are good people down there willing to fight. It's just that, there's a lot more bad people willing to kill.
You must have seen some horrific shit over the course of your career.
Yeah. Yes. Bodies, the brutality, the torture, all that type of stuff down there. Again, I tell people, working down there is the closest thing to the Wild West you have currently. It's basically... And when people say third world country, there's a lot of cosmopolitan places just across the border that aren't necessarily alien to American eyes, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine all this, crazy things happening down there. Like there was a famous firefight in Tijuana, the Cúpula, which is basically, there was a big cartel stronghold inside of this castle type thing. It had a big giant dome on top of it. La Cúpula shootout. And when that happened, basically everybody responded to this thing, and it was next to a school, and kids were being evacuated from it. It was pretty horrific. A lot of the people on the inside, they had a lot of people abducted on the inside, and they basically executed all of them. And some of the people on the inside with the cartel guys would put zip ties on themselves and kneel down the ground so you would think it was them. and you saw uniformed police officers inside of there shooting outside to uniformed police officers. So you would see how the crazy corruption and, you know. LA shootout happens, bank robbery, 2 guys with AK-47s.
North Hollywood, that one?
Militarize the whole policing in the United States. That type of thing happens in Mexico every day, and nothing happens, nothing changes. You know, that's the crazy part. You know, how that just is part of the normal now down there. Nothing changes.
No adjustments.
No adjustments. No evolution. You know, these guys used to roll around dressed as cops with cloned vehicles, and now they roll around in taxi cabs and are more discreet in how they move. These guys used to use drug mules and drug tunnels. Now they use unmanned drones and other means to cross their drugs. So they're always kind of evolving and adjusting. And the government is trying to smash it with a hammer for the past, 10, 15, 20 years.
Just whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole.